Hello, my name is Kim Tae-son. I will present a study on architectural plan elements for securing diversity of urban common residential space. The presentation proceeds with an introduction, body, and conclusion. In the introduction, I will tell you the background, content, and purpose of the study. In the body, I will talk about the theoretical background and architectural plan elements. In modern society, the role and scope of residential space are expanding due to change in lifestyle and the development of information and communication and technology. Many people work from home, do various activities such as telecommuting, hobbies, learning, and exercising. The first graph means that there are about 2 household members. The second graph means that the proportion of single personhood household is about 30%. The third graph is that the total population of Korea has been decreasing since November 2019. Therefore, the demand for residential space that can accommodate the increasing variety of individual lifestyles, such as the increase in small households, the increase in the elderly population, and the need for new work environments and community cultural space continues to increase. On the other hand, changes in the appearance of residential space that can accommodate this are still passive. Most people live in common house, such as apartments, office, villa. These spaces are planned first for economy, feasibility, and convenience, showing a uniform and universal appearance. Therefore, there is a limit to expecting a law that can contain the lives of modern people. In order to accommodate various individual lifestyles, it is necessary to move away from the existing concept of joint residential space planning and secure diversity in space utilization to cope with the changing trend of modern society. The direction of the plan mentioned above can secure the diversity of individual residential space and change the appearance of the urban landscape in positive direction. This study aims to consider the elements of joint housing space planning as a new alternative to securing diversity applicable to different individual lives, away from the uniform joint housing space centered on economy and convenience. The purpose of the study is to propose elements of planning a common residential space in which diversity tailored to the lives of different individuals exist, not the current uniform common residential space. The contents of the study are as follows. First, as an alternative to securing diversity in common residential space, the theory and content of residents participation type, modularity, co-housing, and community are reviewed. Second, based on the modular concept, we propose planning elements for urban common residential space that can secure diversity through community formation and social communication among residents in the common residential space. A general common residential space is planned with a focus on economy, feasibility, and convenience. However, as the action performed in residential space diversify the needs for new space that meet individual needs that cannot be met in its existing space is gradually increasing. Diversity of space is essential for space suitable for individuals. Therefore, I would like to consider the theory and methods of securing the diversity of residential space. The first is the resident participation type. The resident participation methods can be divided into a total of 3 types: a menu selection method, a two-step supply method, and a cooperative method according to the timing and method of participation. Of the 3 types, the second stage supply method is divided into skeleton and interior materials. In the first stage, common parts such as the frame structure and roof, the entire vanity system of the building, and the shape of the exterior are supplied. In the second stage, it takes place in the order of constructioning interior materials with high private individuality. This concept was applied to architecture planning elements. The resident participating plan is for residents to directly participate in the design process. Therefore, it is possible to solve the needs of residents, create various information on design, and increase satisfaction with housing. As a result, residents' participation in residential spaces planning can be applied as a major planning process, and possibility affects the diversification of residential spaces. The modular building system is to complete the building by producing it in a factory, transporting it to site, and assembly. It has many advantages such as shortening construction period and reducing cost by mass production, and increasing semis restriction by lightning. Modular method include include hybrid, infill, and box unit stacking. The hybrid construction method combines reinforced concrete cores and box units. I'm going to use this method as a planning element. Currently, the modular system is applied to rental housing and apartment housing development and rental housing due to disaster. Furthermore, if the modular system is applied to architecture, it will be possible to respond to the pursuit of more diverse residential space values. Changes in lifestyle and meet the demand due to the increase in 1 to 2 person household. The concept of co-housing is needed as a countermeasure according to changes in the demographic structure, such as gain population and an increase in single-person household. Co-housing is one of the new type of housing that emerged in response to these social changes. The contents of the table are a summary of the case and main contents of co-housing. Through this, it is possible to understand programs for creating communal living, families, and communities. Furthermore, it is possible to refer to public facilities and communities that can be applied to residential space planning. Community are essential in residential space. Community space can meet the improvement of living, welfare, and culture by strengthening communication between residents. Furthermore, the creation of a community space in common housing improves the overall quality of housing through the role of rest, bond, and comfort, and create opportunity for contact between residents, community consciousness, and a sense of responsibility and belonging to the residents. Community facilities linked to residential space include video, viewing space, exercising space, reading space, and conference space. Depending on individual hobbies, tendencies, and curiosity, they use community space and help form community within residential space. Finally, it will improve the quality of life of residents and help form a desirable joint housing that meet the original purpose of the community. Modular concepts are economical and efficient. By introducing the modular concept into space and structure frameworks, and reinforced reference unit can be constructed constructed. Through modular application, the degree of freedom of planning can be increased, and the configuration and combination can be varied by applying modular concept to the structure. As a result, the application of the modular concept is a way to secure spatial diversity. In the study, architecture planning elements applying the modular concept are proposed. Figures show a modular interval and a structural pillar. The pillar serves to withstand the load and to fix the panel unit. The black box in the picture is a visual representation of the degree of freedom of planning. In order to secure the morphological diversity of the living space, we propose a building planning elements that combine the modular structure hybrid and the infill architecture method. Figure shows the various elevation within the modular structure. Through various modular unit and combination, it becomes a planning element that allows individual residents to secure morphological diversity through selection. Figures show the diversity of plan choice based on modular concept. Based on the modularity, unit panel can be combined to freely plan the space according to the needs of residents. This method can be used selectively inside and outside the residential space. Therefore, it is possible to secure the diversity of residential space and at the same time secure the morphological diversity from the perspective of the urban landscape. Applying a module to a residential space makes it relatively simple to quantify the space. Through these figures, the concept of co-housing and community can be easily applied. In addition, this combination of space can be made diversely, contributing to community activation by distributing and combining public facilities. Furthermore, it has the advantage of being able to dramatically plan the use of public space, various types of corridors, and void space for vertical connection of space. The figure show a public space and a community space to which a modular is applied. The figure on the left is an example of expanding the private space by applying the modular concept and can be used as a private space for the concept of a alpha room. The gray space is a space that can be used for community purpose. The figure on the right shows the combination of public and community space by applying a module. It shows examples that can be used functionally, such as a shared kitchen, shared rest areas, and void space for vertical connection. This study aims to propose a joint residential space planning element as a new alternative that can secure diversity applicable to different individual lives, away from the uniform joint residential space centered on economic and convenience. In this study, it was proposed to apply the modular method as a planning concept that can secure diversity through community formation and social communication between residents in a common residential space. The contents of the study are summarized as follows. First, in terms of morphological diversity of space, the combination of a hybrid with a modular structure and an infiltrating method can be selected in various ways as necessary, and thus can be a planning element that can ensure morphological diversity of a common housing space. In addition, since the residential space to which the modular is applied is relatively easy to quantify, various combinations of space can be made, contributing to the revitalization of the community through the distribution and combination of public facilities. Second, in terms of functional diversity of space, the application of the modular method can be a planning method that can be ensure efficient use of space rather than uniform distribution of areas, such as various types of corridors, void space for vertical connection of space, alpha room concept. The architectural planning elements proposed in this study are meaningful in that they can contain various actions made in residential space and have the potential as an alternative to joint residential space that can meet individual needs that cannot be met in existing space. Thank you for your attention.